Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Living in Jacksonville channel. This is Greg DeTulio, and it is Thursday Night Live, and we are going to be doing a heck of a show tonight. Last week I was not on, but this week I am on time with a lot of good information. Last week I was at one of the larger real estate conferences in the country. Just checking in with things to really get a feel for the market, spend time with some of the top brokers and real estate agents across the country. Again, just to get a good feeling of what the market is doing on a national level. And so tonight, with all this information that I've gathered, I'm going to go ahead and bring it to it live, and I prepared quite a bunch of data to support it. And what we're talking about, I called it predictions, but this show I called it predictions. But the reality is, I don't think these are just predictions. These are actually thoughts of where the market is now, where it's going, and where I see it in the next year. We're going to talk about how the elections are affecting the market. We're going to talk about whether it's a buyer's and seller's market, comparing nationally to locally here in Jacksonville. And then we're going to talk about, mortgage rates, which have been going down. So a lot of exciting stuff, and really not just predicting stuff here. We're talking about facts and data that are going to be supported here with a lot of information. I actually prepared a slide deck for those of you who like to geek out and the numbers and want support on my theories. I'm going to have the slide deck with supporting information. Okay, so in general, right now, the way I feel being in the trenches in the real estate market, and before I get into it totally, I just want to let you guys know that this is an interactive show. So if you are watching, go ahead and put a comment in there and let us know where you're watching from. I always like to know where people are watching from. So don't feel shy. Go ahead and put in there where you're watching from. And then also, if you have any questions regarding the market, the real estate market, what are things doing on a national level or local level, go ahead and also put those in the comments below, and I will address them. So, as I do have a lot of slides prepared, but I will address those questions, especially if it's a good question that you're thinking about right now in the real estate market. So right now in general, I find that we are in this local market, a buyer's market, and that is not national, because tonight I'm going to show you some support that shows some other areas that are still in a seller's market. But here in the Northeast Florida, Jacksonville region, St. Johns County, we're in a buyer's market. We've gone into a buyer's market now, and there are a lot of opportunities. And that's really exciting to me, because I believe now is the time, and I've always said this, people that know me and work with me, I've always said the best time to buy a house is usually in November, the day after Thanksgiving. Now, I kid about that because I always say the day after Thanksgiving, people are full of turkey and they're not exactly looking at houses. And if there's a home that's been on the market over 30 days, which a lot of houses that are listed right now have been on the market for over 30 days, most of them, those are the great opportunities to go and visit, because there's not a lot of people looking at homes in general historically, and I'll show the data. October and November is not really a good time to list your home. And then the double whammy, which I added to my newsletter yesterday, and if you're not on my newsletter, it comes out every Wednesday. I write it personally. Go to my livinginjacksonvillefl.com webpage and sign up there. But if you go ahead and sign up, you'll see in my newsletter yesterday, I mentioned that this is a double whammy year, which is the best time to buy, because it's October, November. It's the time where there's not a lot of people buying homes. People are in school or whatnot, especially after Thanksgiving. But then double whammy is historically the real estate market slows down dramatically on an election year, which is, of course, this November. So a double whammy, which to me is an opportunity to buy because there are more incentives from builders, and then a lot of homes that are listed right now are sitting on the market quite a while. So what does that mean? Well, if people are calling me about listing their home, I'm recommending to folks that you list more so in the end of February timeframe rather than now, because now's not the best time to list a home. It's just the facts. I know I'm a real estate broker and I'm not supposed to be talking you out of it, but if you don't need to, now, of course, if you need to, absolutely, life happens, but not the best time to list a home around October, November, nor is it during an election year. But it is a fantastic time to be a buyer. I'm going to talk about it today. We have more incentives from local builders here than I've ever seen. Incredible incentives. I mean, some of these builders are offering pool packages with your home purchase build. And I think it's a great opportunity to take advantage of those. So much so that just last week, I found my brother an incredible lot, cul-de-sac lot to build on, and took advantage of some amazing incentives for him. And then on top of that, I'm also in the process of negotiating potentially a new home, a resale for my in-laws. So again, I'm not just talking about it, I'm actually walking the walk. My wife and I, on top of that, are also looking for our next investment property. So last time we bought our last investment property was when interest rates were going up to 7%, and people were just flabbergasted because we went from 3%, 4%, and then we jumped right up to 7%. So when the rates were going up that high, we were able to negotiate a really good deal on an investment property, which we've done very well on the last couple of years, because the sellers had been on the market a while. It was a little bit, had a lot of work to do on that house, but they were really worried that the end of the real estate market was about to occur because the rates had hit 7%. So we were able to take advantage of that, and we actually got ourselves a really awesome investment property that we've been able to cash flow and visit with the kids and enjoy. So we are now again taking advantage of this market as a buyer, and we are looking for another potential investment property. Okay, so that is the reality of this market. When everybody's in fear and waiting, and again, I'm going to show the data of why people are waiting and where the fear is coming from. But once you understand it and you realize the opportunities are actually going against the grain, which is hard to do. We're all human beings. We have this mentality that we just tend to do what the rest of society is doing, follow the herd, if you will, herd mentality. But these are the times where investors, and of course people that are in the market to purchase, these are the times to take advantage of that. And I've had a lot of clients take advantage of incredible new home purchases with incredible incentives where they were able to buy the rate down, where they were able to have the builder pay the closing costs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, and then of course you have to be, naturally you have to be qualified. I'm not saying, hey, stretch yourself out and take advantage of these deals right now, but I'm going to show you the reports today from this conference I went last week that anybody that's thinking, oh, it's going to get worse, well, here's some data here tonight that may make you think differently. So if you're watching from somewhere, make sure you put in the comments for where you're watching from. If you're local or out of town, I appreciate that. Meanwhile, I'm going to share my screen here and show the data of what kind of market we are in right now. Let me see here. Let's see. Let me figure this out. Okay. Can you all see that? I am having a problem seeing my other screen. Hold on, too many monitors here. Okay, let's see if we're getting that on there. Let's move this to here. So I have this. Okay. All right. So I called this deep dive because for obvious reasons, we're going really deep tonight on the current real estate market from a national level and a local level because we are in a hyper local real estate market. Okay. So deep dive. It's obvious, and I think people know, unless you live under a rock, the mortgage rates are going down right now, which is a good thing. Now, it's good and bad. The good thing is because rates are dropping, it's making home purchasing affordable again. The bad part of that is when rates drop, more people are going to jump back into the market, and then pricing is going to stay or not continue to correct itself in the market. Okay. So, where have rates been going? Okay. In April of 2024, our rates hit 7.5%. As of August, right now, on a 30-year fixed mortgage, we're down to 6.4%. Okay. So our rates are the lowest level since February of this year. So the Federal Reserve stuck to the script, holding monetary policy unchanged, but strongly suggesting a rate cut is likely in September. The inflation data must cooperate for the Feds to follow through, but all indications are that it will. Global investors are cheered by this. Stocks are up and a lot of bond yields are down, and they should be. The economy is set to soft land. So for all my gloom and doom people out there, the economy is set to have a soft land. Okay, that's from Moody Analytics Economics. Federal Chair Powell signals time has come for a September rate cut. Jerome H. Powell used a speech in Jackson Hole to signal that the Federal Reserve will begin to cut rates on September 18th and to voice wariness about the job market. Okay. So unfortunately, when the job market is bad and the economy is bad, that's when rates go down. So unfortunately, we need the job market, unfortunately, to go down so that the rates will go down. Okay. Mortgage rates are plunging on the news of weak job growth and rising unemployment. So here we go. This is the inflation charts. Okay. Federal Reserve's target rate is right there around the 2% mark. If you saw back in March of 2022, inflation was at the highest at 5.3. It was also like that in October 22. So it's been quite a roller coaster ride, but inflation is getting under control, and we're seeing it around the 2.6 mark right in July, and we're expecting it to get down to that target of 2%. Okay, so we're on target. Now the unemployment rate rose to 4.3 in July. And again, this is on a national level, people. This is not like Jacksonville. Jacksonville is quite the opposite of national. Jacksonville's unemployment is usually around 2 to 3%, so it's below the national average. But right now, we need to see unemployment go up till about just under 6%. And right now, it's raising up to 4.3. So everything that the Feds have been doing is actually working out in their favor. And we could see the national average is at 5.7% between 1948 and 2023. So we're at 4.3 right now. So July jobs report shows signs the labor market is cooling down but remains stable. The U.S. labor market has added 114,000 jobs in July, but it's a lot lower than expected. It was supposed to be around 180. The job market underscores that the labor market is moderating, making a September interest rate cut from the Federal Reserve even more likely. JP Morgan. Okay, this is all supporting more rates cuts. So mortgage rates are going to go down. Nearly 80% of economists surveyed by Bloomberg recently predict the Fed will make a quarter-point decrease to a range of 5 to 5.25 in September. Okay, so what does this look like? If you noticed our rates when they were in January of 2024 at 6.5, they rose up in April, May to 7.5. We had a weak buyer demand. And now we're seeing it go down in the sixes, and we got limited buyer demand. And then this graph is showing here as we now are below 6.5%, we have a decent demand. It's good. It's not strong, but we're going and heading in the right direction. So for people looking to sell, this is a good thing because our demand is getting better. Now, what does this look like? Let's say in April 2024, when the rates were at the high peak of 7.5%, if you were buying a home for $600,000 and the loan amount was $500,000, and your rate was 7.5, you'd be paying about $3,500 a month just on your mortgage payment. Okay. Now, with the rate cut at 6.4, that monthly payment would come down to $3,127, which means you'd be saving just about $400 a month in your mortgage payment. Okay, so that's a big difference. As these rates come down on a full point like that, you can see a difference of $400, $500 in your monthly payment, which makes a difference, especially when you're looking at mortgage payments at $3,500, and you got to add your insurance and all your other bills on top of that. It is not cheap to own a home, but we're going in the right direction. So the hopes for lower interest rates need the reality check. The lower doesn't mean we're going back to 3% mortgage rates. Our mortgage rates are 7% now. The best way to be able to hope for over the next year is 5.5 to 6%. Greg McBride, Chief Financial Analyst, Bankrate. So again, we're not going to see 3, not even 4% interest rates again. We're looking more in the 5s and 6. Generally, the rate cutting cycle is not one and done. 6 to 8 rounds of Fed rate cuts all through 2025, likely. Okay, so we're not just going to see interest rates cut. We're going to see a gradual decrease of interest rates throughout 2025. And what does that mean? Well, that means basically when the rates go down, more buyers are going to come into the market. And therefore, as they go into the market, it's going to create more demand, and you're not going to see as many price decreases or new home incentives. They're going to go away. So that's why I'm telling sellers in the market right now, now is not the time to sell. You're better off in January, February, because we're expecting several cuts in the rates. So if we can get down to the 5% range, and you can still maybe buy a point down, or maybe a new construction builder will let you buy down the rate another point, you could potentially buy down the rate next year at 4.5%, 5%. Okay, so good things are coming. Experts forecast lean towards a moderation in home price growth over the next 5 years. That translates to a slower and more sustainable pace of appreciation compared to the breakneck speed witnessed in recent years, rather than a free fall in prices. So if everybody who's out there is thinking, hey, we're going into a massive recession and home prices are going to continue to go down, that's not what the predictions are of the experts right now. They're saying as rates go down, we still have massive demand. So I'm having the best year personally here in Northeast Florida in real estate sales ever. Okay. People are still calling, and I still have a lot of people from a year ago. That's why I always say in all my videos, call me in 9 days, 90 days, 180 days. I have some people that have been waiting over a year to buy a house. And so if you're thinking that things are going to get worse, no, this is the bad. We're in it right now. This is like the worst I've seen in the last few years. I've never had so many builder incentives. They're giving away pools. They're giving away massive incentives to pay for your closing costs, because builders don't want to drop their price, because they don't want to affect the comps. They want to give you as many incentives possible, but they don't want to affect the price. So that means no closing costs. That means buying down the rate even lower than what the current rates are. So now is a good time if you have the ability to purchase a home. Okay. It's going to be a normal market we're getting into. The last few years have been crazy. What people think is normal is not normal. A normal market is 6 months inventory. That's called a balanced market. Okay. But we're going to get into that. Okay. Listings have trended generally upward of late, suggesting to us that a rising number of current homeowners can no longer put off moving. So as I said earlier, my brother is moving out of one area to another, and he's finally said, you know what, I'm not waiting any longer. So he purchased a new construction home. We got a very good deal last week on an amazing lot. My in-laws need to downsize. They're not able to continue to put it off for too much longer. So people are coming to the reality of the new reality that we're no longer going to see 2, 3, 4% interest rates, maybe 5s and 6s. But now people are listing their home and we're seeing more inventory. Not a good time to list your home right now, though. As I keep saying, October, November is not a good time to list your home if you don't have to. Okay, so the home price forecasts here for 2024, Fannie Mae, NAR, Zillow, Freddie Mac, Goldman Sachs, the average appreciation that they see this year is about 3.1% appreciation. So for those of you that are saying home prices are going to go down, all the major economists and institutions are actually on the opposite. The only one that's saying it's only going to go up 0.5% is Freddie Mac, but we're going to still see appreciation here at the end of 2024. And for next year, it's going to be a little less, okay? We're going to see we're seeing an average of 2.7% in appreciation. So again, they're not saying we're going to see home prices decrease. We're still going to see slight appreciation in home values next year. Okay, so if the average national home price forecast for 2025 is correct, because everybody's just making assumptions here, these are all economists, okay, economists, is it possible that some regional housing markets could see mild home price declines, while some markets could still see elevated appreciation? And that has been the case this year. Again, we're in a hyper-local real estate market. So will we see price decreases in certain homes? Absolutely. But in general, as I said, I'm representing a lot of buyers and we're looking right now and we're negotiating on homes and I have a listing and people are not willing to drop the price. They're willing to wait, and they're probably not such a bad idea if you can, because we expect rates to go down, and then you're going to see pricing either flatline or start appreciating again, depending on the home and the inventory. Okay, we're a very particular market here because we have so much new home construction. While housing affordability is low for potential first-time home buyers, slowing price appreciation and lower mortgage rates could help. So the dream of homeownership is not boarded up just yet. Now, a lot of people listen to the media and they're like, oh, you'll never be able to buy a home. It's unaffordable. That's nonsense. It's not the absolute truth. There are opportunities for home ownership. It's just we've seen such a massive appreciation, abnormal growth in our particular market that it's become unaffordable with the high interest rates. But with lower interest rates and then these pricing settling and not appreciating at an outrageous, ridiculous rate, we're going to see people coming back into the market finally. There's a ton of people renting out there that want to be first-time home buyers, and it's an opportunity. It's very possible, especially in the Northeast Florida market, because we have so much new construction. Okay, so experts forecast lean toward moderation in home price growth over the next 5 years. This translates to a slower, more sustainable pace of appreciation compared to the breakneck speed witnessed in recent years, rather than a free fall in prices. So all for my negative naysayers out there that are waiting for a recession and a real estate crash, you are going to be waiting a long time, because the reality is we are just finally getting into a normal real estate market. And so people are being very impatient. They're saying, hey, you know what, this is doom. We're doomed. Well, the reality is we're not. We're actually getting into a normal market, and we have the numbers and the inventory to show that. Okay. So why is it not going to crash, right? Well, more homeowners are paying capital gain taxes due to strong price growth. Okay, so basically what this means is that in these years between 2000 and 2023, we're seeing a lot of people having to pay capital gains. Why? Well, if you're a single homeowner and it's your homestead, you do not have to pay taxes on a home if you make less than $250,000 in a home and you've lived in a home for more than 2 years. Okay, if you're a married couple, if you have capital gains of 500,000 or less, you do not need to pay taxes if that is your homestead primary residence and you've been in it 2 years. Now, if you sold your home and you made more than $500,000 in equity in it, you are subject to taxes, capital gain taxes. Okay, so but if you see here, a lot of folks here between 2020 2023, we have major capital gains tax being gained because a lot of people have a ton of equity in their homes. So even if you are one of those folks that have lost your job because unemployment rates have gone up, if you watch the beginning of this, if you can hang on, you should have a lot of equity in your home and you should be able to sell it and get out of your home with no problems. So you shouldn't be going into foreclosure unless you bought at the wrong time, you don't have a job, and you're in an unfortunate case. And I don't really know, how many of those cases are out there, if we're going to see that, but a lot of folks I know, including myself, a lot of people have equity in their home. So we're not going to see a major recession or a crash like 2008 and 9 when people were taking out loans on houses they couldn't afford. Plus, we're in a Florida market. People are still moving here. And so you should be able to have a decent equity in your home if you did not completely overpay. All right, so let's talk about inventory and market. So obviously, inventory determines if we're in a balanced market, a buyer's market, or seller's market. Okay, so here in Northeast Florida, we have officially gone from a balanced market into almost a buyer's market right now. It's definitely happening because we have a surplus of new construction. So when somebody shows you MLS data, a real estate agent shows you real estate data, make sure you understand here in Northeast Florida that not all new construction is included in real estate data. So if they say, hey, we have 5-6 months of inventory, well, a true real estate professional will go, hey guys, we have 5-6 months of inventory in the MLS, but there is a lot of new construction in Northeast Florida that is not on the MLS because builders don't always put their homes on MLS. So if it says 4 or 5, 6 months, there's probably really about 7 months if you include all the new construction opportunities available. So officially in our area, we are in a buyer's market. Okay, so still certain parts of the country are still in a seller's market. So let's talk about that. First off, what defines a balanced market, neutral market? In general, housing market with 5 to 7 months of supply could be described as balanced between buyers and sellers, U.S. News. A 5 to 7 month supply of business indicates that it's a balanced market. That's Realtor.com. A 6 month supply is considered a balanced market between buyer and seller. So we're looking at between 5 and 7 months, right? I always say 5 months is a balanced market. 6 or 7, we're starting to get into a buyer's market, okay? So homes are sitting in the market a bit longer and sellers are receiving fewer offers. More buyers are insisting on home inspections, appraisals. Inventory is definitely rising on a national basis, and that's by the chief economist, National Association of Realtors. Okay, so inventory is increasing. We have seen inventory almost double from January to September today. So as you see here in January, inventory was at 2.9, 3 in March, 3.5 in April, 3.7 in May, 4.1 in June, and we're almost at 6 now. So we're seeing inventory has doubled since January of the new year. So the more inventory is, there's more opportunities for buyers, more opportunities to negotiate. And so this is a good thing because we're getting into a balanced market. Homes are sitting in the market longer. Okay, this is normal again. Before all the craziness and the big migration to Florida, we had this. This was kind of normal back then. Now we're like, this is taking so long to sell a house. So it's really, really important that you list your home properly with a real estate professional that knows the market. So as you see here in January 2022, it's been quite a roller coaster of a real estate market. If you see days on market here, it's up and down and up and down. January 2023, we thought the market was dead. 72 days on market, and then July of 23 went down to 45. Then January, the beginning of this year, went back up to 70, and now we were down to 45 days again here in June in the summer months, and now it's gone up in July to 50 days, and I think it's increased again since then. This is on a national level, folks. When inventory rises faster, the demand prices have to adjust. Eventually, increasing inventory levels are a sign that the market is starting to balance out. So we're getting into a balanced market. People are becoming used to the reality that the pricing they thought they were going to get in 21, 22 are no longer. And now we're starting to see a lot of price reductions, and we're getting into a balanced market. Number of homes having their prices reduced, right? So again, we're seeing homes between January 2024 and July almost double, again, almost doubling the amount of price reduction. So not only are we seeing almost double inventory, we're seeing double price reduction. So people are hitting the reality now and going, okay, if I want to sell my home and it's vacant, I need to price it properly and make sure I have a real estate professional that is marketing the home properly as well, and making sure they're advising you make the right decisions. There's a lot of variables that go into selling a home. So it is so price centric right now on a national level and in our market as well. The faster housing supply increases, the more affordability improves, and the strength of a seller's market wanes. So we're going into a buyer's market if we're not there already with all these price reductions. All right, so which metros are in a buyer's market right now and which metros are in a seller's market right now? So this is very interesting data to me. Source is Zillow. Okay, so I have a lot of buyers right now and they're ready to buy a home. They see some amazing incentives with the builder and they're saying, I want that home. This is a great time to buy. I have people that are looking at resales that are like, wow, that's a fantastic price. I love that house. I'm ready to buy. You know why they can't buy it? Because they don't have the ability to have two mortgages and they have not been able to sell their current home. Ironically, some of these places are very, because I run this YouTube channel, I have a lot of buyers like you on the YouTube channel watching from all over the country. I can tell you from my people in New York, they can sell their house overnight in certain parts of New York, or Washington, D.C. And then I have folks in other areas like Louisiana. We had one last week, the last live I did, I had a person from Alaska. Now we're seeing Florida as a market. Jacksonville is on the list here. So which markets are buyers markets right now? So Cape Coral, Florida, McAllen, Texas, New Orleans, Louisiana, Deltona, Florida, Miami, Florida, Honolulu, Hawaii, Jackson, Mississippi, Jacksonville, Florida is on the list, Tampa, Florida, Memphis, Tennessee. Okay, so we're in a buyer's market. Why? Because Jacksonville and Northeast Florida has a lot of new construction, a lot of inventory. So which metros are in a seller's market right now? So if you're watching from any of these places, make sure you put in the comment section where you're watching from and if this is your experience. But if you're in these top 10 metros, you're still in a seller's market right now. That's New York, Hartford, Connecticut, Springfield, Massachusetts, San Jose, California, San Francisco, California, Seattle, Washington, D.C., Kansas City, Missouri. I have no idea. I don't know anyone from Missouri. Chicago, Illinois, Providence, Rhode Island. So I bet those are very specific areas, but those are still considered a seller's market today. And what's interesting to me, when I looked at a map earlier and I didn't put it on here, it showed where most of the capital gains was being paid. As I showed on that previous slide, people that earned over $500,000 and is subject to capital gains on the sale of their home. Those people were in New York, California, all the crazy cities where in states and cities where the cost of homes have ballooned and skyrocketed. Those people come to Florida and they say it's still affordable to them because where they came from. Sellers and buyers need to be prepared. As the market moves toward more balance between buyers and sellers, parties on both sides of the transaction need to be prepared to negotiate. Sellers should expect more prospective buyers to make an offer contingent on a home inspection, making repairs, improvements to ensure the home is ready to sell condition is important. Being prepared to offer assistance for repairs that are discovered during inspection. The market's changed. You have to start being prepared as a seller now. So not a terrible idea if you have a whole older home to go ahead and have your own inspection conducted, because people, you do not want your deals to fall through. You want to be prepared. If you are able to get a contract in this market, you want to make sure that you've got your ducks in a row. You have a good real estate professional. You get your home inspected so there's no surprises, because we're in a very sensitive market right now. So, and it's also important for buyers to have all your financial ducks in a row. Even though mortgage rates are falling, generally the rate and the type of loan someone can qualify varies across borrowers. By making sure they understand their loan options, buyers will be less likely to stumble on the way to closing. Again, having a good real estate professional with a good lender on their team to advise you properly on your buying power, of course, and making sure that you're set to go on a good deal once you're able to do that. I'm seeing now as sellers also, we're seeing now people are taking home to sell contingency or home to close contingency. And what that means as a seller, a buyer comes along and says, hey, I want to purchase your home, but hey, I have a home to close or home to sell contingency. People are starting to consider that. And there's different ways you can negotiate those on the contracts where if somebody's purchasing your home and they have a home to close contingency, you can do different things where they have skin in the game and they have a deposit that goes hard over a certain period of time. Sometimes you have to make a way, depending on your market, to make the deal happen. So it's really key to have a good real estate professional that knows what they're doing as far as what the market is and different ways to negotiate these contracts. Whether you're selling your home in a buyer's market or seller's market, you should work closely with the real estate agent to find the best way to market and sell your home. Absolutely. Have a real estate professional guide you. It is a known fact that having a real estate professional to guide you will gain you more money in the sale of your home. I think the percentage is 13% more than what someone would make selling their home by themselves. So how will the 2024 election affect the real estate market? So this is really interesting. This fired me up. Okay, so here's some interesting facts. Presidential election years affect the national housing market and mortgage rates through three interrelated challenges: uncertainty, policy expectations, and consumer confidence, okay? And that's because consumers choose to postpone major purchases or sales until they gain greater confidence in the country's direction. So again, remember what I said earlier, to me right now, that's why I have my family members that have been waiting to purchase are looking to buy now, because it's a buyer's market and no one is buying because they're waiting for the elections. Now, I'm not a politics guy. I don't watch CNN or Fox or any news or anything. So I don't watch any of that crap. And I'm actually, like I said, also looking for my next deal on an investment property. Currently, right now, we're going to look at one tomorrow, my wife and I. We are going against the grain of society like we did when we bought our last investment property. We don't care what happens with the elections. Well, we do naturally on a personal level, but as far as affecting where we are financially and what our goals are, we're not postponing a purchase and waiting because we don't feel like that's going to make a difference. And as I showed the data earlier with the rates coming down, we expect prices to go up and people to come back into the market in January or February after the elections. And if you don't believe me, watch the data. Seasonal drop in sales sharper in presidential election years. Okay, so remember I said the double whammy about what I put in my newsletter yesterday. Not only is October, November a terrible time to list your home, but a great time for buyers to negotiate on a home that's been on the market, because not a lot of people are buying homes in October, November. But double whammy, a lot of people are waiting to see what happens in the election. So people are not buying homes during an election year. More reason to go and buy a home right now. That's why builders are giving away pools, they're giving away all kinds of incentives, because they are trying to make their end of the year numbers. In October and November has been extra specially worse this year because it's an election year. Okay. But the rates are going to go down. So hurry up and make sure you get in on that window, because as rates go down, you're going to see more buyers going up, more buyers in demand, the less incentives we're going to see. But because it's an election year, we've seen in non-presidential election years during the month of October, November, we see the market drop by 9.8%. Look at this, guys. On election years in the past, it's dropped to 15% during October, November. So you're seeing even a larger drop in people out looking at homes during an election year in October, November. More reason to be smart if you are looking to purchase, but don't list, purchase. Okay. If you don't need to list right now, wait till February. That's what I'm telling my people. Okay. All right, here's some more data. Home sales went up after after 9 of the last presidential elections. Check this out, guys. Okay, these are sources from the National Association of Resources and the HUD. After an election year, rates have gone up 9 out of the last 11 presidential elections. Okay, home sales went up. We're not going into a recession. We're not going to fall apart here. This is an opportunity right now. Pricing of homes will go up. So if you're looking to sell your home, call me in January. Actually, call me in December so that we can look at where we are in January and get it listed either into February or March. But pricing will go up. It will be better for you after the elections, because everybody that's waiting in October and November and eating lots of turkey and hanging out for Halloween and everything and putting off buying a home, they're going to be flying in the spring looking for a house just like everybody else. Well, when everybody else is out there, the demand is higher, so there's not going to be as many incentives. So the data is here. Existing home prices went up after 7 of the last 8 presidential elections. Okay, again, if you're waiting to buy a home and you decided you want to wait, just remember, after elections, prices go up historically after elections. So better time to list your home is in the spring. Better time to buy a home is right now, before the prices go up and rates continue to go down. Because as I showed in the earlier slide, you're going to see 5, 6, potentially 5, 6 mortgage rate drops in the next year. Okay. All right. This is the data, folks. New home prices went up after 10 of the last 11 presidential elections. Okay. Again, here we go. It's just supporting, again, the 1 year was an anomaly, was 2009. That was obvious because of the last big real estate crash, because of mortgage-backed securities crashing of the banking system. But historically, after an election year, home prices go up. So again, more reason to buy now before interest rates go down and pricing goes up. So in December, following an election in the following year, the sales that are lost during November are recovered. It isn't that consumer says, I'm nervous, I never want to buy. They say, I'm nervous. Let's just wait to see how things play out. Is that you? Come on. Is that you? Put it in the comments if that's you. I've been hearing that over and over and over again. You guys call me off YouTube and you're saying, hey, I'm not really in the market to buy now. Okay. But I'm just waiting to see what happens, but I'm going to be in the market in the spring. Well, you're going to be like everybody else. We're all waiting to the spring, but the deals are now, people. I'm not just saying this, I'm showing you the data. So I'm not kidding. I'm not just talking about it. My brother just bought, I sold my brother a house last week. My in-laws are negotiating on a home right now, and my wife and I are going to look at a house tomorrow. So I'm not just a salesperson. I'm a real estate professional that understands the market vehemently. I'm also an investor. All right, so mortgage rates decreased leading up to 8 of the last presidential elections. Again, supporting what I said, this is the source of Freddie Mac down here. After the election, 8 of the last presidential elections, you'll see interest rates go down. And already we've had Powell mention that we're going to see rate drops. So we're going to see what happens here September 18th. If everything continues on par, if unemployment continues to go up, and inflation goes down, we're going to continue to see mortgage rates go down. We already seen them go from 7.5 to about 6.4, 6.3 right now. And then you've got builders offering you massive incentives to buy down the rates so you can be in the fives. So I've had multiple people last month buy homes in the 5% 30-year fixed. Okay, great opportunities right now. For most Americans, election results will have little direct effect on their income and therefore should not significantly impact their decision to buy or sell a home. Should not. So if you are not one of those unfortunate people that lost your job, the elections are not going to affect you. Therefore, if you need a home, you need to downsize, or you need to upsize, now is the time to take advantage of the market. So I sound like a broken record. I'm going to stop. Do I sound like a broken record? Anybody's watching this? I know there's a bunch of you logged on. If I sound like a broken record, just put it in the comments. I'm okay. I have thick skin. And if you have any questions or if you want to counter what I'm saying, please do. I'd love to make this interactive. Okay. All right. So how do presidential elections impact the housing market? Sales activity slows during November, recovers in December and the following year. So again, you're going to see all our markets slow down. We're seeing it earlier this year. And then we're going to see a recovery in December, and then it's going to go back up in spring. Home prices typically increase the year following an election. Mortgage rates typically decrease leading up to elections. So again, perfect scenario is certainly seeing the market go up in the spring season of 2025. Is that it? I think I'm done. Okay, so that is it. I have shown you the data of what I was learning at my real estate conference last week. And overall, I can say very genuinely that I'm super excited about the current market we're in. And people may find that hard to believe because it was such a crazy spring and still busy with a lot of new construction and a lot of inspections and stuff like that. A little bit of a breather, but as I say, I reiterate, the market is not gloom and doom. And so whatever you're waiting for or whatever you think is going to happen in the elections, I'd love to hear about it. So put it in the comments. Let me know what your concerns are. And of course, if you have any questions, hit me up. I am in the Nocatee in the St. Johns County region. I've been making my way out to Seven Pines, one of my new favorite master plan communities in Jacksonville. Amazing location near Mayo Clinic. And some of the incentives and pricing in homes I've seen out there are fantastic. I've seen some amazing spec homes. As I mentioned earlier, I got an email from one of our builders saying, hey, we're giving away a $130,000 pool package with the purchase of a home here in Nocatee. I'm seeing ability to move into a 4-bedroom with an office around 2,300 square feet for under $650,000 in Nocatee. I'm seeing $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 in incentives to purchase a home. It's been really incredible and enlightening to see all these amazing deals. My brother got a phenomenal lot on a cul-de-sac and again took advantage of major incentives as well with that, with a lot of upgrades here in Nocatee as well. So I'm happy for him to move up from South Florida and join us here. So in-laws are also negotiating resale. So a lot of cool things happening right now. We're going to look at another investment property tomorrow as well. So tons of incentives out here. Of course, if you're, want to have a private conversation on your situation, please give me a call. You can text me, email me, or call me. My information will be pinned to the comments and in the description as well. And again, if you have any other questions or comments, put it in the comments. I'll try to respond to them. And thanks for joining me tonight. Every Tuesdays and Thursday, I try to drop a video, and I love to support local businesses. So if you're interested in joining me here on a Thursday night, I'd love to have you here talking about the Northeast Florida region. So I'm Greg DiTullio. Thank you for joining me tonight, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. See you next week.